Today, direct home buyers, also known as iBuyers, have been in the headlines a lot lately, and many of my clients have been curious about them and how they work. Hi, my name is Adrienne Marks, and I'm a real estate broker here in beautiful, sunny Southern California, San Clemente to be exact. Nowadays, there are more and more companies functioning as iBuyers, and today I'll explain their business models, weigh the pros and cons of working with an iBuyer, and share strategies you can use to protect yourself if you choose to explore this new option to buy or sell your home. Be sure to watch until the end of this video to get access to a free gift. Now let's get started. iBuyer is a catch-all term for online real estate investors who want to reduce the cost of selling real estate by using digital tools. The I in iBuyer stands for instant, as in an instant offer. iBuyer startups like Opendoor, OfferPad, and We Buy Houses are rapidly expanding into new territories, and now established players like Zillow are starting to get in on the action. These companies use computer algorithms to provide sellers with a quick cash offer to buy their house. While the actual market share of iBuyers remains small, their big advertising budgets have helped create a noticeable buzz in the industry. So let's dive into how the iBuyer process works. While each company operates a little differently, the basic premise is the same. A seller or a seller's agent, yes, you can have an agent represent your interest when selling to an iBuyer. They complete a brief online form that asks questions about the size, features, and condition of the property. Some also request digital photos of the house. The iBuyer will use this information to determine whether or not the home fits their buy box or their set of criteria that matches their investment model. They're generally looking for houses they can easily add value to and flip. In most cases, their ideal property is not in a gated community. It's moderately priced, a single-family home located in a neighborhood with many similar houses. The property shouldn't require any major renovations before listing. These qualities make it easier to assess the value because there's lots of comparable sales data and help to reduce risk and minimize carrying costs to them. Once the iBuyer has used their algorithm to determine the amount they're willing to pay, they'll email an offer to the seller, usually within a few days. The offer should also disclose the company's service fee, which is typically between 7 and 12% of the purchase price. Yes, you heard me right, between 7 and 12%. If the seller accepts the offer, then an in-person visit and inspection are scheduled. The iBuyer will ask for a reduction in price to cover any defects they find during the process, and this of course helps them. Once the sale closes, they'll make the necessary updates and repairs, and then they'll resell the home on the open market. As we all know, every decision or choice has trade-offs and/or consequences. Next, we'll cover the pros and cons of selling to an iBuyer. Of course, the biggest benefit of selling your home to an iBuyer is convenience. For some homeowners, the stress and disruption of preparing and listing their home can really feel overwhelming, not to mention dealing with showings. Maybe they homeschool their kids and have 3 dogs. Maybe someone living in the home has medical conditions that prevents them from being able to leave for showings or for the room that they're in being accessible during showings. Maybe there are kids that are dealing with selling a parent's home in a hoarding situation. The list of reasons why some sellers may not want a traditional sale can go on. And many sellers like the predictability of a cash buyer and the flexibility to choose their own closing date. Now for the cons. This added convenience does come at a cost. It's important to remember that an iBuyer is an investor looking to make profit. So their purchase offer is usually below true market value. When you tack on the service fees up to 12% and deductions for updates and repairs, studies show that sellers who work with iBuyers net a lower amount than those that list the traditional way. In fact, a Market Watch investigation found that transactions involving iBuyers net the seller 11% less than if they would have sold their home with an agent on the open market. Okay, for buyers, what are the pros and cons of buying from an iBuyer? Buying a home from an iBuyer is a lot like buying a home from an investor. The pros are that it's usually clean, neutral, and moderately updated. You'll often find fresh paint and modern finishes. And because no one's living there, you don't have to work around a seller's schedule to see the home. There are some pitfalls to avoid when working with iBuyers. Speed is of the essence, so sometimes the renovations are rushed and the quality can suffer, as is true of any flip. Also, their investment margins don't leave much room for negotiating a price reduction or additional repairs. That leaves buyers who have already invested hundreds of dollars in an inspection little recourse if issues are uncovered. That's one of the reasons we always recommend viewing properties with an agent. During your visit, a real estate professional can point out any red flags at the home and provide background information about the neighborhood and help you assess its true market value. That way you don't invest time and money in a high-risk or overpriced property. Safety is also a concern. Some companies allow buyers to access their home via a smartphone app. While it may seem convenient, it provides an easy way for squatters and others to enter the home illegally. Luckily, since most iBuyers and traditional sellers pay a buyer's agent commission, as a buyer, you can benefit from guidance and expertise of a real estate professional at no cost to you. The next area is, how can I protect myself if I choose to work with an iBuyer? While it may seem like the quick and easy way to go, working with an iBuyer can present some unique challenges. For example, they're notorious for presenting a strong initial offer and then whittling it down with a long list of costly updates and repairs once they complete their inspection. And unlike a traditional buyer who is incentivized to make a deal work, iBuyers can easily walk away if you don't meet their demands. Just like you wouldn't go to court without a lawyer, you shouldn't enter into a real estate transaction without an advocate to represent you. Having a professional agent on your side can be especially important when negotiating with an iBuyer. Remember, they employ sophisticated representatives and a team of lawyers who are focused on maximizing their profits, not yours. You need someone in your corner who has the skills and knowledge to ensure you get a fair deal and who understands the terms of their contracts so you don't encounter any unpleasant surprises along the way. Overall, we think the emergence of new technology that helps to streamline the real estate process is exciting. And if we believe a client can benefit from working with an iBuyer, we present it as an option. But there is inevitably a cost to the convenience. After all, most iBuyers eventually list the properties they acquire on the open market, which is still the best place to find a buyer if you want to maximize the sales price of your home. Please look in the description box below for your free gift, which will summarize the information that we covered today. If you're thinking about selling or buying a house in the near future, I'd also like to offer you copies of the Ultimate Seller's Guide and the Ultimate Buyer's Guide. You'll find links to both of these in the description box below. That wraps up today's video. Please take a second and post a comment below about what you found the most interesting to learn about working with iBuyers. And please remember to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any important information. Buying or selling a house is a really big deal, and one of the reasons I spend hours each week preparing and recording and editing these videos is to help people become better informed so they can feel confident about what they're doing when selling or buying a house. If there's a real estate topic you're curious about, let me know what it is in the comments, and I'm happy to add it to my list of future topics. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!